Heyo, Sigma here. I'm back with another demo review. This time I'm looking at Drogo's team again in a stunningly similar 25-minute game on Badlands. And he told me that this demo actually plays all the way through, so hopefully it plays for me and I don't have to go messing with settings or something to make it actually work. So we're going to check out Drogo's team against Pet, Black Diamond, Trisk. I know those guys are a team, possibly with some Scout Ringers and possibly with Pure Ring here, but I don't remember what their team name is. So, Drogo's team versus Pet's team. CP Badlands, and I believe this game was played before I posted the previous commentary of Drogo, so maybe I'll sound like a broken record when we get to mid, but I'll just try to talk about different things. So, off the top here, they're using a gunboating soldier who I believe equalizes and just knocks his health low early and waits. Just wants the higher health from the gunboats mid, which is an acceptable way to do it. So, let's watch. And here's my pause button. Alright. So the demo's it doesn't have optimal speed because the med missed buff on him at first, but I like the fact that he waits regardless, so that he does come in at good health even if he's a bit slower. It looks like he beat the enemy demo anyways, so not too bad. So we've got Valley versus Valley. Their roamer goes down, but they have such nice damage that they can probably clean this up. Medic's kiting closet. So yeah, I like that play much more than I liked the first mid play they did on the last round, where they just basically had their roamer shut down by a scout, and that was that. This time their roamer was able to jump freely, get damage in, and they stayed in despite being 5v6 just based off the damage that he had managed to put on. Apparently I don't have notifications all the way off, so hopefully not too much stuff pops up. Now, Pure dies trying to make something happen, which I don't really know about since his team had Uber anyways, but, you know, whatever. He's a ringer. Does whatever. And that push was doomed as soon as they started splitting. Maybe they thought that the other team wouldn't have Uber yet, but the med lived on mid, so there was no reason that he wouldn't get it or wouldn't get it very soon. So I think they could have taken their time with that. I mean, well, they had the soldier pick, but they could have at least gone in expecting an Uber exchange, not gone in splitting right off the bat. So that imperfect splitting caused them to lose their demo. Perhaps the medic was body blocked, I'm not sure. But now their medic is overcommitted. It's actually a point where he'd be better dishing out the bottom right. But I think he's pretty much just going to die here because he doesn't have enough Uber left to get out of this. So it's going to be up to their scouts to either back cap or hold a nice position so they can perhaps hold Spire. And doesn't look like a back cap is forthcoming since both scouts are in sight. Although, if they... okay, wow. Apparently if they just all hit their shots while red is missing, they win the fight. So that's that. Now let's catch another mid here. Look, I'm going to focus on what the roamer does specifically, because that's probably the most interesting thing. So the roamer is Techno. And, okay, he jumps, gets denied by a scout right away, so I think the other team's adapting. And now their mid is just falling apart, so... or it's not, because they have a whole bunch of damage on. Wonder what the heck... okay, I gotta find out where that damage came from, because I was totally off. So time to go back. Need some elevator music to play while I'm loading ticks. Okay, so there's the roamer jump, there's the scout denial. They've got everybody clustered up, but they're not taking damage from the enemy demo because it's piping and it was going over their heads rather than splashing. So that's where the health difference came in, is the amount of damage that BYN I wish I knew who that actually was able to do. Although, I wouldn't say that's a well-deserved mid, just because they were all clustered up, and if that spam from Black Dynamite had been hitting, their health would have just plummeted. But they killed the med, so they know that they have revenge here. Let's see how they choose to use it. Uber's soldier in bottom mid gets totally shut down, like as bad as possible, and they're just gonna have to back out of that. And they do back out of it, get one pick, 2 picks, so this is a potential push. The demo just dead, so he won't be fully loaded. He dead again. Should really be putting some pressure on with their combo, and they are. And it might be enough. They've got the demo, they forced the soldiers down to point. So, mistake from red team there, allowing blue to turn that around after the failed Uber charge. Basically, they overextended both their scouts, and then their demo was forced to death multiple times to try to get frags to make up for that, and as a result, they could put pressure on the point too easily, even without the Uber charge, and that allowed them to take control of that push. So, got Valley versus House, House coming from blue. Romer jumps aggressive on the demo. I like that. He's not jumping into a scout, he's pushing the demo to the fight, even though he goes down. Unfortunately, a scout killed the blue demo in the meantime, so the medic wisely turns tail and runs the heck out of there. So, this is 9 seconds on every spawn. I don't think there's much chance for Spire here, because the demo won't even be on bats until it's half capped. This is a smart play coming from the red team, getting both scouts on Spire right away. I think a lot of people have this false conception, or misconception I guess I could say, that you need to cover this flank area with your scouts, and it's basically just not true. You need your scouts to be doing the majority of the cap work on Spire, because if you have soldiers doing it and the demo is able to contest from bats, they're going to take a lot of damage and their cap time is a lot slower, whereas a scout can dodge the damage the demo puts on from bats, and while the demo can push the scouts off, he's likely not able to kill them or do significant damage doing it, so you can keep your presence on yard without having to heal these really low health soldiers. And especially in a situation like that where the other team was 3 down, there's not that much risk of a flank, because it's too difficult for them to coordinate, I shouldn't say too difficult, I should say the soldiers couldn't get up to bats fast enough to have a jump coincide with the scout flank, so there wasn't too much risk on their medic. But that's me talking about red. So anyways, since the med lived on mid, we have even Ubers at last, and you know, I'm really a fan more as medic, standing like at this door and using this pillar thing that you see in front of me to block the shot from the sniper on barrels, rather than standing on the stairs, because the stairs leaves you quite vulnerable to a potential suicide if they choose to do it. There's no way you're going to die if you're on the spawn door, but if you're on stairs, there's a chance you'll be forced. Although, you know, it's pretty unlikely, because you should be able to spam the guy as he comes up bottom mid, and you should be able to push him off the platform pretty fast, so it's just kind of a risk thing, I guess you could say. So here's the pop coming in from red. This is not going to cap because, well, wait a sec. Those flashes on the scout were totally unnecessary. He was flashing him just because he happened to be close, perhaps. So this Uber is not as long as it could be, but it's not even going to matter, because the red team for some reason decided to come in lower right when they had even Ubers, and they weren't pushing any like significant timing advantage there. So pretty much blue just got to back up into spawn with the people there, come back out, and now they have an extremely long Uber with which to clean up, and the red medic's overcommitted, so he's dead. And the only way that this point is going down is if there's a scout back cap. But, as we saw in the previous demo, oh my goodness, so there almost was. And they're all clustered on point, and they're basically forced to be because of this soldier. So, now, they've dealt with the crap. They've only got the enemy demo up, the rest are spawns, but I'm a little disappointed because I saw them make this push successfully, just manning up and covering doors in the previous game, but that time they delayed for quite a long time because basically they were not watching the spawn times. None of those people who had spawned could have possibly been at the point. They could have moved their combo, and then the spawning heavy would have been up by the time that anybody could possibly been there. So now they're kind of trickling out onto Spire, but this is a very weak push because the combo is way back, not actually pressuring corner, and they've already lost their demo. So even if they get this cap, they're going to lose it right away. And that's basically just being too afraid of a back cap, despite the massive advantage and the fact that it was not possible to be back capped. So that's why they lost that push there. And apparently while I was flying around the base looking at nothing, they got forced and the red team has uber advantage. But they have a heavy and pyro out, so it's entirely possible that they're going to hold this point, at least up until the sandwich gets back. Ooh! Med goes down on the door. That's actually pretty surprising to me. I thought he would have been able to get back, but I guess he got juggled straight up by that first rocket, and rather than riding it into the spawn, he just ate it and then was helpless against the second one. So main mistake on that round there was not taking that. The Spire was gifted to them basically. It was 3v6 essentially, and even though the point was close, nobody could have been there in time. So I think that's something really important to pay attention to, even if you don't do it everywhere on the map, and it is helpful everywhere on the map. It's very, very important on last, and especially Badlands last, because the Spire push is so unique. Now, I just paused this here because I wanted to point out that their roamer saw the scout looking at him, and then he chose not to jump. So even though he's going to be delayed on what he's doing here, it's going to be much more effective than if he had decided to jump into that scout's face anyways. So there's a chance on mid here for blue, but they do have a slight disadvantage because I believe the enemy demo put more damage on their scouts. And now they gotta deal with these soldiers, and it's not going too well, so the med needs to get out. He's kinda lingering, but it's fine because he's got that scout right with him, so if he gets rushed, that scout can just kill, or at least slow down anyone who's after him. So, looks like red, I think, had a scout pressure. No, I don't see him now. So, these guys, they are opting for forward hold again. I do like this. Let's. Oh, wow. If that soldier had hit that rocket, they could have turned that into a push. So, I mean, when both scouts in the demo were peeking that door at the same time, there's potential for a 200 damage rocket there from that range. So that would have actually allowed them to push Spire, so it's just unfortunate his aim was off a little bit there. But good play from blue team. They're able to back up anyways, so they're just using the forward hold perhaps as a attempt to get an advantage, and they didn't get it, and they backed up quickly without losing anything from it. So now we have the Uber. I like how they're following the Uber with their combo. And I'm not sure, didn't see exactly why the red medic got out, or didn't manage to get out. I'm gonna go with maybe the pyro juggled him or something like that. But perhaps it would be because red flashed multiple people in top right and then only had an Uber soldier there in their face, so they couldn't do any additional damage as a result, and then the single Uber coming from blue lasted long enough to clean up before the flashed around red Uber would allow the medic to get out. So nice play, good defense, just very simple pop, and then don't let people die. So good job. Now they have a slight Uber advantage here, and it's obvious to them that they have a slight Uber advantage, so let's see if they manage to push off it in time. They need to be going really fast here, because